Welcome back to another episode of the Big Bad Beetle Bros, a special bonus round with a nice little guest interview on the side. I'm Cam.
And I thought I was out, but they brought me back in, so I'm Ryan.
And we're here today with Kaz, the filmmaker extraordinaire. Kaz,
now, is it true that your name is short for Cazador, Scourge of the Wasteland?
Well, actually, at birth, my mom called me dipshit, but somehow that wasn't legal on paperwork, so Kaz
Never is it?
Permitted here. Probably not.
Kaz, give a quick little introduction to who you are and what you've been working on and all that jazz for everybody at home.
Okay, well, so first things first, I have probably one of the weirdest names you've ever heard. My name is Kazdan, and I'm a full-time college student for film and video, currently about to graduate. And I partake in producing short films, commercials. I do photography, a list of other things. Actually, speaking of the cinematography side, I am producing my first official survival horror series called Agent Dax. We're trying to separate it as much as we can from Walking Dead, but it is zombie themed. We're trying to make it as original as we can, but everything's already been done before. We are also producing a Power Ranger fan film called Operation Prototype, which is almost nearing completion, which will come out before Agent Dax. Agent Dax is planned for next year. And we just released the very first Beetleborg fan film, Beetleborg Apocallix, which was a passion project for many years, as you may see some of the helmets, including this lovely one on Yoshi, as we speak. Take that, Nintendo.
Can I ask, is it Agent Axe? I'm sorry, over the recording it's kind of clear.
Oh, yeah. No, I apologize. Yeah, it's Agent Dax. So actually, there's kind of an interesting story with that name. So Agent Dax started a couple years ago as a college project. We were supposed to make a 5-minute apocalyptic short. You know, it was supposed to be vague and everything. And I decided I didn't really want to be vague. So me and my girlfriend, we actually went out and we filmed a sequence with another buddy of mine, Charles Gambrell. Took us 2 days, 8 hours each day. So we went and we filmed the first segment of it, which came to about 2.5 minutes long. Took us 8 hours, and the following day we filmed the fight sequences for Dax, and then we put it all together to meet the criteria, and it got a lot of positive reception. So we decided to adapt it into a series, and we released the very first pilot last year, and now we are producing a total of 8 episodes as a mini-series that we are going to put on YouTube Video and Tubi to try to monetize.
All right, cool.
The pilot is going to change significantly in the final product, but if anyone's interested, it is on YouTube for free. Just know that it's very bare bones and a work in progress, but it's came out very well, I feel like, for being our first official film project.
For sure, man.
I always think it's really interesting, fuck it, this is our show. I always think it's really interesting because we're all creators here. We're all people who put their own heart and soul into pieces of work like this. And we're so self-critical and, sometimes rightfully so, like from a technical standpoint. But then it's like, I always think about the stuff that I like watched or have read or seen from like my favorite people from back whenever they were first starting out. Like Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they're like college films. Of course, they're like shoddy and like a little bit more crass than you might be used to or something. Like they're different. They're not as polished and refined.
Right.
But they're still amazing and I love them. And like, I wish we could kind of see that whenever we make the beginnings of stuff. Probably. Yeah.
A lot of my inspiration does come from a lot of the early days of horror, like true horror, like Evil Dead, Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, that's not to put anything down from anything from the 70s and back, but those two particular franchises, they started on a budget of nothing, and now they're worth multi-million, damn near $1 billion. That's just in the film, not including merchandising and so on and so forth. Right. I mean, I think Chainsaw Massacre was at $50,000 on their full budget, and Evil Dead started out as a college project.
Yeah.
Agent Dax, and I don't think Agent Dax is going to be like the multi-million-dollar breadwinner here, but it's definitely going to be something that's going to kickstart Crass Productions, which is the name of my company. Primarily, we are a non-profit film company, and a lot of our work is volunteer outside of music and sound effects and editorial. That's where most of our budget goes to. But Originally, Dax had zero budget, like none at all. The pilot episode was all put together by people willing to volunteer their time, and I am eternally grateful for everybody who put their part in it. Andrew Alton, who did the music, Levon and Jalen, who did the VFX, Charles Gambrell, and of course my girlfriend, Glenn Lissette, everybody who came out, even Raheem, and I'll call him by his cosplay name, our friend Carolina Psycho, all came out, volunteered. Oh, and Patrick Green also. They all came out, volunteered their time, and did such a fantastic job on the pilot. But because of that pilot, we were actually able to raise some money at Fable Comic Con, which is a local convention in my hometown that I do photography for. And we managed to pretty much budget the next 4 episodes, and we're going to release the first 5 as an arc, and then the final 3, 2 episodes and a film, hopefully by the end of next year. But the first arc will release 1 to 2 weeks after January 1st, somewhere around that ballpark. We're still trying to figure that out, but soon, nonetheless. And then I think the most budget that we ever put into a project thus far, even though it's only 9 minutes long, Beetleborgs, because these things are not cheap.
No, they are not.
So moving into the Beetleborgs conversation, I guess the first call to order question is,
why didn't we see Flabber's dick?
Well, so he is a phantasm, and I don't know.
You don't have to try to put any effort into it. You're good.
Beetleborgs, what got you? Did you watch the show when you were growing up? I know you're
Yes.
Ever so slightly older than us. We were at the tail end.
That's actually a good question, not to ask a pretty lady your age, but how old are you?
Okay, so I'm old enough to procreate, although I probably shouldn't.
Same.
I was born in 1991. So
Okay.
I had the pleasure of vaguely saying this because I was 2, seeing Power Rangers when it first launched. In fact, my first birthday party at the age of 3 was Power Rangers themed because I was absolutely enamored with the Blue Ranger.
I was just about to ask what your favorite was.
And when Tommy came around, that of course became the number 1, which is the popular thing for most Mighty Morphin fans. My mom started recording episodes on VHS for me because while I was at school, it was coming on TV and we couldn't see it. So she would record the reruns for us because we didn't have cable. And I would come home and I'd be sitting at the TV, doing the morphin sequence and, all that. And then I had an obsession, particularly with VR Troopers around that time, which I don't remember very well because I was way too young. Like I have like very clear memories from when I was like 4, 5, 6 years old, which most people can't say. But I had a good childhood, I feel like. So I have a lot of those memories, and a lot of my ideals today actually came from those franchises. And I don't care what anyone says. VR Troopers is so underappreciated comparative to, the main 3, well, I guess 4, but Saban, we don't talk about Saban's Masked Rider.
Oh, God, I was racking my brain trying to think. I'm like, wait a minute. What's the 4th one? Oh, right, that thing.
Mystic Knights is okay.
I was going to say.
I never watched Mystic Knights, and it's not because I didn't want to. So, like, I went through a weird change in 98 and 99, right? Like, I got away from cartoons and TV for a while. We had to move houses. I'd lost my grandmother around that time. And so I just kind of like, I don't know, Mystic Knights of Turnanog kind of felt underneath the radar for me. But like, what is it? Super Samurai Cyber Squad or whatever the name for that is. Yeah. I remember that one. But also the one that fell under the radar for me was the Teenage Tattooed Teenage whatever from Beverly Hills, whatever that was.
Oh, Tattooed Teenage. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that one and Knights of Turnanog fell under the radar for me. I honestly have zero memory of them up until like the last few recent years, really delving into like Metal Heroes and the Maritoku and stuff like that. And I have found a love for Metal Heroes. I feel like it deserved a lot more credit and that Toei never should have canceled it, especially with the Space Sheriff series, which, again, I don't know why Saban couldn't have adapted Gavin and Sherivan for Season 3 of VR Troopers to give it a conclusion. Just my opinion. I'm just saying.
The only logical conclusion is that, Saban wasn't actually caring about the properties he was putting out. He was like, I don't know, get rid of this one. Let's do this one now.
Yeah. If
You know,
from the,
Shuki, what do you think? Jamming out on the piano.
You know, it's funny. So I emailed Brad Hawkins a couple years
yeah.
ago because I
That's,
went through,
who's Brad Hawkins?
right. Brad Hawkins, he played Ryan Steele in VR Troopers. He was the leader of the crew. You know, he's the same guy who had the narrations throughout the entire series while he's looking for his dad. And if you've never read the comics, which are a rarity in their own way, there's a lot of background story in those comics that couldn't be featured in the show. The comics are actually fairly dark comparative to the original series. And anyway, so I had a chance to speak with Brad Hawkins through email. If I still have it, I'll share it with you guys if you want to like plug it in for this. But he gave me so much closure from my childhood because I never got closure with the series ending, and I went back and rewatched it and hated how it just ended with a cliffhanger. You know, I feel like they could have ended it with Ryan teaming up with Grimlord like they did 2 episodes prior to the final climax, and it would have been fine to end it there because then it looked like they were on common ground, you know. But they continued to add 1 or 2 more episodes from that, and it just didn't coincide. It made no sense. But anyways, I spoke with him, and he had told me that VR Troopers was not just a pivotal point of his younger career, but it was a major part of his life and his influence. And moving on and kickstarting his own restaurants and, you know, doing what he does in Texas, it made me feel good knowing that he was doing okay and that he still had an admiration for the fans who still followed his character to this day. I know
I think that's kind of a common thing with these actors. Like Herbie is definitely in that camp too. A lot of the Power Ranger fans are. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, I know that I know that they were excited about getting a movie and a 3rd season, but ultimately the reason why VR Troopers failed was because of lack of sales. That's what it really came down to. And it wasn't that the show wasn't a hit. In fact, the show was a hit, but there was more than just, you know, lack of footage. They could have repurposed, like I said, the Gavin franchise to continue it on. No matter how outdated, they could have at least did what they did with the Alien Rangers season for Mighty Morphin. You know, did a 13 one-off to conclude it. But there just wasn't enough budget from toy sales to do that, and so it failed.
Which I've always, ever since we had an interview with, was that Rick Schick that explained basically how predominantly the Beetleborgs viewers were college kids getting high? Or was that,
I think it was Rick that said that they figured out that it was like, it wasn't predominantly, but it was like 30% of the viewership they figured out was like
a non-negligible amount.
It was college kids getting home or getting like out of class at like 3.
I wonder how much of that plays into the views versus toy sales. Yeah, because like you know, I can relate to the stoned college kid experience, and for sure I'd watch the show without buying them. I can't personally say that. Never mind.
I want to clarify. I no longer like get high anymore. I used to smoke weed many years ago, but when I started college, I decided to kind of get away from it and just kind of like get my life on track. Not that there's anything wrong with smoking weed for, you know,
you got to make the decisions for you.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't smart for me to financially continue it. And if I was going to take college seriously, I felt like if I was whacked out of my mind or, you know, constantly trying to get a buzz from something, I just don't feel like I would commit. So I made that decision to kind of stop. But, you know, I could honestly see myself getting completely blitzed and watching Bible Man. Do you know what that is?
Oh, we have an episode about that. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
we've been high watching Bible Man and recorded it. Yeah.
The entire series is on Tubi and PureFlix.com right now. And it is hilarious, even by today's standards.
Did you watch that as a kid at all?
No. So actually, I watched it as a teenager.
Okay.
So in 2009, when they switched over to like analog TV, they switched away from analog TV and went straight to DTV. Again, I was the product of a very poor home. So we literally couldn't afford to get a DTV like antenna. We couldn't afford to get cable, nothing like that. So in 2009, the only channel that continued to broadcast for 6 years straight was channel 45, which was a Christian channel called Daystar. Okay. And every Saturday they had cartoons. I think I was 2009. So it wasn't really teenagers. It was like late teens. They had God Rocks and Bible Man. And
did they have reruns of Bloodhounds Inc.?
What?
Bloodhound, or wait, what was it?
Bloodhounds Inc.
Yeah, Bloodhounds
That
Inc.
was technically a Christian show, wasn't
It
it?
was a very Christian show. It was explicitly why we watched it, is because it was a Christian show.
And because Billy.
No, I don't think I did.
yeah.
I don't think they ever
Okay.
did. But they
That's a
had
shame.
they had constant like reruns, and honestly, this is gonna sound really weird, but until then I didn't get an appreciation for like Christian like kids TV shows, because like I never watched VeggieTales. That stuff is legit funny. Like
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
legit.
It's the best. It's the top tier.
Even nowadays.
And there's this other show called God Rocks. So like the whole theme of it is this like punk rock band. You know, they have like the live action sequence, and then the other majority of part of the show is like they're in this animated world where everything is made out of rocks. And
Okay.
I'll never forget it because the grandparents, like the old characters, are called old fossils, and they're just old people falling apart. Like it's hilarious.
It's what's
I'm
what's
surprised that one has evaded me. But the
Yeah.
Rock Lords from
no, what's
Pokemon?
fossilized poop called?
Coprolites.
Coprolites, yes.
I think that one fell under the radar simply because it was Christian oriented.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I grew up at a Christian school, so most of those ones like hit my radar at some point early on in like
Mhm.
elementary, middle school. But that mine was like Bible Man, Veggie Tales.
Oh yeah.
So
Right.
the elephant in the room, the suits that the helmets at least that you've got standing around. Did you? I'm curious because I know a handful of like, especially Power Ranger fan films that have cropped up. A lot of those originate with like cosplayers who either have the suits or are getting the suits, and they just decide to do either as a promo thing or just a fun side project.
Right.
A little bit of a chicken or the egg discussion. What came first for your for Beetleborgs Apocallix? Was it like I want to get the suits, or did you have like a pitch for the show first?
So actually, I bought the suits specifically for the film. But I should also mention that I'm a cosplayer first. So my first tokusatsu costume was the Bukinger Green, which is in America Operation Overdrive. And it's just an extension of the Operation Overdrive black costume, just changed green with some small minor details changed. I always liked his suit. I felt like the black one was the sleekest design, and the helmet just looked so simplistic but yet detailed enough to not look corny like the yellow helmet or the red helmet. And I also feel like Operation Overdrive doesn't get enough credit. Granted, it's one of the worst seasons, but there's a lot of like story building that can be expanded off of it that I think is just absolutely amazing. And I feel like it should have got a little bit more credit, but I digress. I realize that's like not a popular opinion.
As somebody that likes the Garlic Saga of Dragon Ball Z, yeah, I know how you feel.
God, I loved Evolution. But what was I going to say here? So yeah, the Operation Overdrive Green was the first tokusatsu suit that I'd ever commissioned. I had plans to commission SPD Orange and a few other ones, but when I commissioned Overdrive Green the first time, it took me 1.5 years to get it. And when it arrived, it came in 3 different colors. I still have the original suit. I had to have J-Toku recommission this. I recommissioned the suit from J-Toku, and let me just say, he did an amazing job. I will 100% work with him again in the future. Yeah. I could not recommend him enough.
Only good things about J-Toku. If you want to answer, you can. If you don't want to answer, that is okay.
What's your inseam?
No. Did you get the first suit from Aniki?
So I hang from the right. Aniki, no. I did not. So actually,
okay, good.
Just curious. I got a suit from Aniki, and it also came in 5 different colors, and the paint on the helmet was still wet. So
when I was okay, I should clarify about the green suit. So Derek Hervey actually wanted to make a series of his own, and that project fell through. But I fell in love with the character that we had came up with, and that's why I decided to stick with it and use the character. Like even the name is the same, and the abilities that he has is the same in Operation Prototype that'll come out hopefully within the next month. But so I want to give him credit, and we also took some story ideas from Heather, which I've worked with her before in the past with another Ranger project that unfortunately had an untimely demise. So Heather, if you're watching, you're amazing. But in regards to Aniki, when I was trying to get that costume specifically, I did a lot of research. and Aniki was the one that came up the most, and I just for some reason just it never felt right to order from them. So I started looking at companies in
Where's your
Indonesia and
spices?
Taiwan and Japan and stuff like that, and I eventually settled on one, which although the suit came in terribly, I won't say their name because they've gotten a lot better, and I don't want to distract from what they've done. Like they do some amazing work now. I think they were just very new at the time, and sometimes you make mistakes. It's okay. To be fair, he also refunded me the full value, so I have
dude,
nothing
that
but
was-
respect.
okay, yeah.
That's a huge
Oh
boost.
yeah,
Right.
so nothing but respect.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't want to distract from his company. Nothing but respect and nothing but love. So I ended up commissioning the gold suit for my friend Barwak, who runs, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, Sakumi Cosplay. It's TSUYKI Cosplay. And he did such a phenomenal job. The only downside is, so I've gotten bigger over the last year. And
Who
so
hasn't?
my waist has gotten wider. So the bottom of the armor couldn't close. So like when you're watching Apocallix and I'm walking towards the camera, you can't tell, but like it's not sealed in the back. So
Oh no.
You can't
So
tell
I've
it all in the shot.
Yeah.
So I knew this was going to be a problem before we started filming. So I went ahead and commissioned a second armor plate, and that should be coming in the next month. So it'll fit this time around. As for titanium silver here, my buddy Ashley McCulloch, he lives out of Australia, did the armor for this, and he runs a company called ATM Cosplay and Props. And honestly, couldn't say enough positive things about him. He's eager to work with people. He's reasonable on it, and he takes installments. So I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Mhm.
Now, as far as purple, that is coming. It is not done yet.
Which
there's a lot of
plot-wise is fine.
Yeah.
Yes. We will have a full-length episode without purple first before we actually show her armor.
Okay, cool.
You guys watched the short film. Well, I mean, obviously you did, but at the end, she wakes up.
Right.
And for those who haven't watched it yet and are watching now, because we're sitting at like 1,100 views. There's not a lot of people that have watched it yet. So this story is essentially, and so I'm grateful. I gained 116 followers after the video went up. It is
Nice.
because of
Yeah.
Beetleborgs that I hit 1K.
Yeah. Great.
But it's nowhere near like unworthy view count. You
No,
know,
for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's obviously those, like, that's a goal to like look for and try to work towards. That's like Ivan Deca and Nova, who do the Jamingers and stuff like that.
Oh, dude, I love that guy. And
Yeah,
Jamagers is, by the way, is amazing. I spoke with him
He's always like
briefly.
a gold standard for me in terms of like
I actually, sorry,
Toku type content, like stuff like that.
I actually sent him the video, and he said he loved it. By the way, so
Nice.
yeah,
He's a great
right.
guy for feedback on stuff.
Yeah, there are a few things that I would have liked to have done better for Apocalypse. Did you watch the BTS video? It kind of gave a little bit more in depth about.
I did. I don't know if you
I don't
did.
think we did.
I don't think we
No.
watched it together.
Yeah,
I watched.
Did you?
Yeah, because you released that like a few days after the.
Yeah, I think that one's only got
Yeah.
like 100 views.
Had
Less
some, like,
than.
bloopers and
Oh, but it's uploaded on.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait,
Awesome.
are we able to like share screen and watch it now for this? It's only 3 minutes.
I think so. Yeah, give me a quick second.
That
And
dude,
that'll give
whenever
me
Cameron
some
first
small-
sent me your fan project here, I
Yes.
so I didn't watch it immediately because I thought it was going to be like a 20-minute affair or something. Like I didn't really know what I was getting into,
So
and then it's like. He started talking about like doing a recording about it. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't watched it yet. And he's like, oh, it's just a few minutes. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
well, I would have done that as soon as you sent it to me if I would have known that.
we really wanted it to be the first of its kind, and
Mhm.
we didn't want to make the first installment too long. Episode 0 is literally just the backstory of like what we're leading into, like what's happened between the series ending versus now in our current universe, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
And so there was no need to make it very long. It was just to kind of introduce that Drew is kind of-
Exposition.
yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Who's that?
That is a weird guy. I cut it out of the video, but this clip right here with my thumbs up starts with "My dad didn't love me," and so I was like, I don't want to put that on there. It's out of the goddamn. But
Well, canonically, we can't say that he didn't.
Fair enough.
For the original
was
series. I
gonna
don't know
say,
about your
we've never met.
universe.
We never.
Just for context.
Is it so? Are we?
Anybody want some licorice?
releasing this as a video?
Both video and audio. I'll cut it differently for video
Thank you.
or for audio. Sorry.
Is it your girlfriend?
Yep.
Or wife? Or...
Really embarrassing.
She's gonna say that you look awesome. You know. Yeah. Great. You know. Breakfast. Being sweet.
You're good.
We're good.
Yep.
We're not great. We're just good.
You look wonderful, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That really warms my
I'm
heart.
so glad.
Like, I mean, just so heartwarming.
I'm very glad.
Somebody that was alive in the 90s.
I mean, you could use a little bit more eyeshadow, but I really. I don't know.
I love that cut.
That's real. In the events at Hillhurst. I'm as real as it gets.
I'm no less
You can do it!
No.
I'm no less real than the events at Hillhurst.
I'm no less real than that.
One more time.
I'm no less real than the events at Hillhurst.
One more time.
Can we pause?
No
Yeah.
less real.
How, oh man, I was hoping that the text was still on screen because I don't. How old is
Tegan?
Tegan Rikers?
Tegan Reachers is 12 years old, and
Okay.
she is a local actress here in North Carolina.
Job.
She has done extra work for Black Adams and a few other films. There's another
Very cool.
there's another film that was filmed recently that had
It's still big, yeah.
the guy from Talladega Nights. I can't remember his name.
Which
Will
one?
Ferrell.
Oh,
okay.
there you go.
Yeah.
The main one. Oh, okay.
And I've worked with Tegan before in the past. In fact, Tegan and her mother Jennifer, they are in Agent Dax for us.
Nice.
Is that the only project you've worked with her on, or what are the
This
other?
and Beetleborgs. So we've been in
Okay.
communication for about a year. I should clarify. So when you're doing independent film, it's really hard to get people to volunteer with their children. You know, a lot of the time
Mhm.
they have a Coogan account set up and they want all this other stuff. And, you know, that's just not something that we're able to afford right now with Crass Production. So we want to be able to get to a point where we can afford union and we can actually pay people, or at least start non-union, at least.
Yeah.
But right now, all of our actors are volunteer. And again, like I said, I'm grateful for everybody that comes out. You know, if we can make a part for you, we'll even do that so that way you have something to add into your demo reel. And Jennifer had been in contact with me, that's Tegan's mother, for roughly about a year. And so I would say we're close friends. And it was just an absolute delight to be able to work with somebody who has the experience that Tegan has. And I wouldn't second guess it for the world.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Good,
she
yeah.
did a great job.
Yeah,
And then
her
like
experience clearly comes through.
yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure. Tegan she's good at what she does.
Mhm.
yeah, for sure. And we'll jump back in.
No
Yeah.
less real than the events at Hillhurst.
See, look at that. Do it one more time. One more time.
I'm no less real than the events at Hillhurst.
Music to
There we go.
ears. Let's go. Okay, I think you got it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Go. Action. You know what? This is my problem. Maybe try to add a little.
Because you.
Try to
I
add.
don't want it.
Okay, well there's the door.
Now you get out all of it.
Okay.
This one I gotta be careful with.
So let's try to see about adding some pain into that line. Maybe it's like you're consoling me, right?
Did you want to be recording on this already?
No.
Hey, it's us.
Every time.
Real. You.
Hey, it's
Get in
us.
the face and say I need to let you go.
I'm recording. So,
What we call industry problems.
whenever you're ready.
You can do it.
Bite his freaking head off.
because you need to let her know.
Okay, well, I'm recording, so.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm hating it.
I love all the chairs up here.
Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. 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 You're doing good, I promise.
Dang.
I don't think he agreed, though.
Someone's having an accident out.
Well, okay, can we pause again? Can you? Oh well, I guess that's the end. Yeah. So, can you kind of go into the space that like loft area that you and her had? Like that was a majority of
The set?
Set, yeah.
Yeah. So the location that we filmed out of is actually owned by Patrick Leclerc. And by the way, this is a free advertisement for him. So
There you go.
Wow.
So,
if you're into
all
antiques, homemade coffee, and fine cigars, Leclerc's General Store is the place for you. But
There you go.
all advertisements aside, Patrick is an absolutely astounding guy. He has this beautiful location right outside of the Cape Fear Regional Theater in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And it's a place where people can come in, they can buy a nice cigar, you can smoke it outside, get a nice cup of coffee, and you have exposure to all kinds of antique paintings and stuff from as early as the 1940s. And it's all for sale. If it's on the wall or on the floor, it's for sale. Except for that one body in the bathroom, but that's not important. So anyways, Patrick was very kind to let us use that location. That is the back room where most of the I want to say the premium antiques are. He has a lot of antique paintings and stuff back there as well. And as if you notice, there's a lot of items there, and it fit perfect for the narrative because we really wanted Drew to seem kind of like a cluttered mess, not just visually, but everything about him needed to be a mess,
Yeah.
And so we specifically tried to film angles that showed a lot of the environment and not just close it off. Ironically, some of the stock footage in the beginning of the introduction, when I'm giving the narrative at the very start of the video, where it shows me showing the heater in the background or the plants, or the table with the candles on it. Those, excuse me, energy drink. Those were actually taken 3 months after we originally shot that scene.
Okay.
And the cool thing about his location is that they do feng shui every 3 days. So everything is
cool.
being moved around. So every time you walk in, it's a new experience every time. He dedicates a lot of his time to making sure that place is amazing. And I would recommend anybody take the chance to walk in and just see it. It's beautiful.
That is as a former / future museum professional, that is an aspect of curation that I don't think a lot of antique shops put in.
If you ever fly out to Fayetteville, North Carolina, for one of our events or whatever, dude, I'll show it to you. It's
100%, man. We'll be out there eventually.
Cool. I'm excited for it. I should also mention, this is kind of important. The character Drew, we realized that we went very dark with his character. Having the hallucinations of his younger sister, the obvious accident. I was kind of iffy with taking it that dark, and we had spoken before, both you, me, and TJ had spoken before about what my original plan was with this before we even kickstarted the project. And we did tone it down a lot, believe it or not, from the original design. But I still feel like we made it a little too dark, and we had some people who say that, this really takes away from the child-hearted aspect of the franchise. And I agree, 100%. We want as much as we can to get feedback from people who are watching this so we can make it better for them.
Yeah.
I'll of course get into the whole story and why Shadowborg and White Beetle Blast are back and stuff like that. But I really wanted Drew I wanted people to resonate with a broken man,
And, mine's a real quick anecdote. I think with, in a weird way, the way that Beetleborgs ended with a cliffhanger and no, ancillary media. We didn't get a comic follow-up from Boom or anything like that down the years. It's kind of it ended and then that was it. B-Fighter was done. Beetleborgs is done.
I heard that Beetleborgs was slated for 3 more episodes and they never made it to it. That's why Les quit working. They were trying to write Les out. That's what I heard. I don't know if this is true. I heard that they wrote
I
Les
remember
out.
when we talked to Gabe that they had planned for at the start of season 2, at the start of Apocallix, there was a plan for an ending.
Yeah.
And like halfway through the season, they were like, we've burnt through the footage. We don't have any more money. Toy sales aren't good enough.
Right.
This is it. We're
Yeah.
just gonna, eventually you're gonna hit whatever the, 40 episode mark or whatever it was. And that's it. So whatever episode we get.
Apocallix has some kind of wild.
Yeah, it's got some, like-
scaling writing.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like Metallics should have saved it, but
You'd
obviously
think.
that's not how
Yeah.
that.
Well, and it's what a lot of people remember, dude. Like, I wouldn't have even thought about this before the podcast, but since then, the amount of people that we've talked to, and it's like it seems like their minds are just like locked onto Metallics, and they
Yeah.
completely forget everything that happened beforehand.
Exactly. I mean, there's so much being introduced in such a short time in Metallics. I mean, not only do you have like the Borg Slayer, which was not the Borg Slayer. Sorry.
Well, I mean, that was
Bears.
the transition, so it was
Yeah.
close enough.
Well, in B Fighter, Zuko B Fighter, the character for Borg Slayer was actually the witch that conjured up Shadow Borg,
Yeah.
and they only reused her headpiece, but never introduced that witch into the series because her character was too dark. She got brutally murdered, by the way. To
Yeah.
clarify, So it's-
B-Fighter has some very
They've-
violent.
Crucifixions,
Yeah.
explosions.
I think it's episode 18. There was a robot from like a earthen planet. It was a little girl who was secretly a robot from this planet. She was like the last of her kind, and the suit for it is just so beautiful and so simple at the same time. I can't remember the name of it, but I would have loved to have seen that in Beetleborgs as a one-off.
Yeah.
I mean, they did it with the Viper chick from VR Troopers. Red, was it Red Vixen? Red something.
Yeah. It's
She
like
was a
It's
reporter.
Red Vixen adjacent, if that's not exactly the name.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but there was so much potential in Metallics that could have been expanded upon. They could have
Yeah.
at least given us a final episode, but
Mhm.
The Saban story, there was so much potential.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
basically.
stop drinking this because it's giving me the hiccups.
Ooh.
Now, I do want to clarify. So we tried the best that we could to kind of piggyback after Metallics ended. That was a very crucial point for me because fans never got closure with it. No one ever got closure with it. And I remember Les, essentially leaving Nukas and saying, "I'm done with this. I'd rather be in prison,"
Mhm.
And I wanted to do that where if you ever paused it and read like some of the newspaper clippings, there's a ton of backstory there that will be addressed later on down the line where Les's character was kind of forced into creating one final great weapon, and
Mhm.
Roland Williams has kind of embraced fame after the accident simply because what else could he do?
Right.
And while Joe was in this comatose state for the past 15 years, Drew has just become this hospitalized, drunken, lonely man who has no control over his life.
Which that's on to take a second there. I know like we talked about the newspaper clippings a little bit in our episode. So like I feel like because I had Cameron sent me pictures of those like way before this was even finalized.
When you first reached out, because we had the photos from our trip to Hillhurst.
Yes.
You had sent the like early like test shots of your mock-ups for the newspapers.
Right.
I had sent those over to the guys to like make sure everybody was cool with how our photos were being used and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and like I was. That's not even
Not a
I
question.
completely forgot that that's even why you sent those. I just thought it was a cool thing you were sharing. But yeah, it's the newspaper clips do have a lot of information, but the problem is I feel like it's not conveyed well enough to the audiences in that.
It was intentionally vague.
Okay, cool. That's that's the answer.
We wanted people to have insight on what happened in the past 15 years.
Mhm.
But we also didn't want to make the episode too long, and we also didn't. We originally there was supposed to be an intro that was animated, like a cartoon animation.
Okay.
I now know how to make that, but I wanted to get this out so quickly, and I just didn't have the time, and so I was like, you know what, rush it out, maybe apply it to the next one. It is going to take some time to make that animation. Really, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to take a lot of screen grabs and photos, and I'm going to posterize them and throw them in comic strips. So
Okay,
that's
There you go.
simple enough, but it gets the job done to create a motion tracking sequence that allows like each segment pans into this, and then it's the motion track leads down to the next slide, and so on and so forth. So it's very
Yeah.
simple.
Oh,
It's just you don't know it's simple until you try it, you know.
right. Yep.
But I have something here for you guys. I'm going to get this 3D scan, or not 3D scan, but I'm gonna have it scanned. I'm gonna have it emailed to you. This- what do you think?
Sorry,
this is?
just 3D scan like 15 sheets of blank paper.
If you turn it this way, you can see it's thinner than my axe.
Okay, so that is a script. Am I right?
It is a script.
Okay,
But what is it a
it's
script of?
It's a script of
My very
My love
first
life.
porno. No.
Both good answers.
What do you think it's a script of?
I'm assuming it's like your rough draft or script for either this episode or one of the next ones.
Better. I'll give
Is
you
it a
one
script
last
of an actual episode from the
movie?
show?
It is an actual episode of the series.
Oh, there you go.
So this is, let's see, make sure there's no private information. All right, we are good. This is a copy of the original pilot script sent to me directly by Michael Gatto.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
So who's Michael Gatto?
Michael Gatto, he played, I don't know if you can read that. Michael Gatto played Tommy Oliver in the Alien Ranger series. And
That's
he,
all.
Yeah, young
he
Tommy.
also
Yeah.
did the pilot episode for Beetleborgs. He played Drew. I have a whole interview with him and everything. And I've been in communication with him
Okay.
since that interview. I've actually been in communication with him about the probability of working together in the future, but I won't say anything more simply because it's not set in stone.
Fair enough.
So there's a lot of things that are planned. I will be doing a review of the script. And like I said, I will get it scanned and emailed to you as soon as possible.
That's all.
A little bit of context about the film. So the way that we want to kind of take this is we want to reintroduce Shadowborg and White Beetle Blaster. In the series, when Shadowborg was destroyed, so was White Beetle. And the character Josh also, by the way, he never really wanted to be in the Beetleborg team after like the first battle anyways. It just wasn't his thing. And that kind of makes sense. So what we want to do, and this is kind of like an insight into the next episode, I don't want to give too much away. A buddy of mine, Travis Flincham, he is going to be playing our character Josh, and he will return. The character Josh, that is, will return as he was intended, because Shadowborg is now back. The reasons for why Shadowborg is back, I won't go into details. We will explain that in episode 1, the official first episode. That, of course, will hopefully come out by sometime next year. Don't know. We haven't really started filming for it yet because I'm trying to finalize Dax and Power Rangers, and I'm in college. But it's going to happen. I'm going to start commissioning in September the purple suit, and my goal is to have it done before March and shipped here before the end of March. So that'll be when we start filming some of the suit scenes. But Jay Lopez, who does the voice for Yama, is also, not to be confused with Jennifer Lopez, plays the adult version of Joe. I play Drew. My friend Tony Long plays Roland. And there's going to be kind of a little bit of a fourth wall joke in there, because Roland was always the tallest, even as they got older, was always the tallest.
It became a problem once they hit puberty.
Tony is the shortest of the three of us.
Perfect.
So we are definitely going to address that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Fun little meta.
Whenever they Borg out, you know, like how they stand from like shortest to tallest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that like in the original order, where it's Joe and then there's Drew and then there's Roland, and I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, something's not right here. Him,
Let's switch.
the
Yeah.
other side is like, that's better. Blur it
That's
out.
great.
You know, something like that. Something
That's
simple.
great.
And also, I mean, you're putting a millionaire in his place, which who doesn't love that?
We're definitely going to address that because, you know, there's a lot of like screen accurate critics that we want to try to appease as well. We don't want it to be
Awesome.
like we don't want it to be like every fan adaptation where it's just like we're expanding our own story and we're doing this. We
Yeah.
want it to be true. That sounded very condescending. And no, not knocking anybody.
That's okay.
Well, to be too self-serious is always a detriment whenever you're doing a fan project because
Right.
it's well, I
It's
can't
largely
explain
not.
it.
It's largely not your IP, and
right. Like there's so
yeah.
many factors.
I
You
should
can't
clarify
be.
too. I
Yeah.
did reach out to Hasbro about a PTU form. We originally had dubbed over the VR Trooper comics,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and that ran for 8 episodes. That's on my YouTube channel.
Yep. Yeah. TJ did some voices for a couple of those, I think. Right.
Yeah, he did. He did Grimlord. Yes.
Yeah.
So I spoke with somebody from Hasbro. They told me to fill out the PTU form, and I never heard back. So technically, we cannot legally do this anymore. The fan film, though, as a parody, falls under fair use, so we're good.
Yes.
But because we were using actual comics from actual IPs,
Mhm.
Right.
can't use them.
Um,
I'm gonna attempt to reboot that once I hear back from Hasbro. To make that
Oh.
clear, once I hear back from Hasbro.
mhm.
And then, of course, we'll probably recast a few people and have more people do voices. Like I did voices for the robots. I did the voice for Shadowborg, but I did
Right.
voices for Tankatron and I forget the other one, Air Striker. And then I also did the voice for the nerd and for the announcer. And there was another voice I did. I don't remember. I think it was a one-off, like a 2-line character. 2 words, I mean, but I don't remember. Anyway, point is, I did at least 5 voices in that. But we had fun. We had a lot of fun with that. And I've had a few people asking if I'd continue it. And I want to. I just can't
Yeah.
legally.
Right.
So there's that.
Yeah, and that's I've heard people, especially specifically with Beetleborg stuff, people have brought up because we've had people ask us like, we scanned the style guide that we've got from the original series. We've scanned that, put that up on projectlouder.net. We've scanned the Metallics versus Power Rangers Turbo comic, and we've put that up on projectlouders.net. And we've had people kind of like pop up and be like, hey, like, are you allowed to do this? Is this like, did you reach out? And I was like, with my perspective of this as like, from like my professional experience working with copyright, trademark, all that jazz, a lot of the times it's a better to ask forgiveness than permission situation.
Right.
Sometimes it's not.
Well,
Sometimes
Well,
it is.
A lot of
a
the
lot
time.
of it,
With like Disney
well,
and Nintendo,
it-
it's not.
it depends on a few things. Like, first of all, your platform, which
Yes.
is what my question is are you exclusively uploading this to YouTube or do you have a website?
No, just YouTube. I don't have.
You should get a website.
Go ahead.
Well, you should get a website because
Just for backup purposes.
Team 4-Star, I think, is probably the most prevalent example. Whenever YouTube decides to be a little whiny little pussy ass bitch and not actually like, I don't know, have humans interact their laws or rules or whatever, like it can be really easy for a YouTube thing.
A strike to
especially,
take your channel down.
Whenever
or
it's not,
something.
even if it is an original thing, but especially if it's something like,
Parody.
yeah, parody or something like, like this, like it.
I will.
It's-
I'll interject for just a moment and say
Yeah, go ahead.
that we are making this as fans for the
Mhm.
fans.
Right.
I have zero intentions, and I would like this to be public knowledge. I have zero intentions of monetizing it.
And
Oh,
that's
for sure.
true of most
And-
works.
and we don't mean-
Unfortunately, that
yeah.
matters 0% to YouTube.
The censors and stuff.
What
Right.
was that called? Where they like
It's their
hit
strike
and
system.
strikes, yeah.
So and we don't mean to say like you need to have a website or something to like monetize.
Yeah,
Like,
I just want
well,
I want your work to persist and not have to worry about like it's gone because YouTube decided to
Yeah.
be a bitch.
Well, hear me out.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you guys like to put it on your website?
We have a website?
projectlouder.net.
Oh, right.
Because
that's
Yeah,
absolutely
I would. Unfortunately, that's not my call.
that's absolutely in the cards, and we can chat about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but going back to like what we were talking about with like kind of like media preservation and like the general idea of like keeping track or like making sure that, like because like YouTube can't. It's better lately, but it can be kind of tenuous sometimes with their media preservation, and kind of depends. They're getting better. Their strike
Let's
system
speak
is
plainly.
improving.
It's really easy to copyright strike someone, even
Yes.
if they don't have a copyright strike.
And
I
like
got
you can work
copyright.
around it and
On
work
It
with
is.
it.
the original trailer for Agent Dax, I just found out like 6 months ago I got a copyright strike and was never because they copywrote a single sound effect, just a simple
yeah.
theater sound effect. It was just a simple boom, and I got copyright strike for that. That was it.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
Like the fuck, like dude.
Yeah.
So now my buddy Andrew does all my music, all my sound effects.
Okay.
Great guy. Can't recommend him enough. Amazing guy. So he does all my stuff. He makes it like just out of whatever software he uses, so that way I own everything that I put up now.
yeah.
Live and you learn. So I get it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
realize
for
I
sure.
cut you off. I apologize.
No, you're good. Like that, but like that kind of experience, you know, a lot of YouTubers and content creators in general experience that. Like, I mean, even us, when we first started doing this, I made some super rudimentary merch and put it up on Redbubble, and I had like photoshopped.
It was Abbey
Some-
Road is the problem.
Yes, well, you would think. I took the cover of Abbey Road, the Beatles cover, and I photoshopped the Beetleborgs helmets on the Beatles walking across Abbey Road. And I put that, I like took, you know, the logos off, put our logos on, all that stuff, put it up on Redbubble, and Saban copyright struck it. Now, granted, Saban at the time didn't currently own the copyright to Beetleborgs.
Well, I
They
think
certainly-
actually, although they don't own majority stake, if memory serves, they own 30% stake.
Oh, okay. I was under the impression that they had sold complete ownership of all of their properties to Hasbro.
Well,
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure
I could also be wrong.
I'm pretty
Well-
positive they still own a 30% stake in the general IP.
That would
So
feel
it's
like a
I mean,
Saban move.
This could be a thing about YouTube's thing.
Well, and I
because
think
know
it was an
they'll
automatic
actually bill us-
response.
Yeah, it's like
Because
I feel like
both-
even 30% wouldn't warrant you enough to be able to have the authority to say like this is a strike on my property.
No, and I think it was one of those things where like it either
Because YouTube doesn't
recognize the
manually
image.
moderate that shit.
No.
Not for the shit that's like us. That doesn't matter.
yeah, I think Redbubble had some kind of automated system that snagged it, saw that it was Saban related, put in a
Right.
strike, because we've had merch. Now, granted, all of our merch now is original designs, original art made by artists that we've commissioned, or Ryan,
We're
or
gonna say
you know,
like half
it's
of it's mine.
yeah, it's text art or something like that you can't copyright. And we've
Right.
got all that up on TeePublic and haven't had a problem since.
Right.
But like little things like that, I've noticed people have had problems with. Whereas like, you know, we put up the style guide or we put up the Turbo versus Metallics comic and people are kind of questionable about it. And it's like, yeah, you know, if we got a cease and desist or we got an email, like, yeah, we'll take it down. We'll figure something out
Right.
if that were to happen. It hasn't. I don't think enough people are, you know, seeing it. I don't think the people at Acclaim or at Hasbro or Saban are looking for that necessarily. We're not costing them any money because they're not selling this. Like even the Beetleborgs DVDs are out of
If
print.
anything, we
so-
have more to fear from the guy that sells the $50 for an episode Sentai DVDs.
Yeah, the
at Comic-Cons.
bootleggers at Comic-Cons have probably more of a stake
Yeah.
currently.
I bought Kuga, Agato, Ryuki, and Faiz, actually.
All great series.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, oh my God. So a lot of there was like a solid 10-year run where like some of the Kamen Rider series were just like complete ass, you know? Like
Yeah.
I won't say
They
which
definitely
ones.
have eras.
I won't say which ones, but I gotta say though, one of my all-time favorites is Amazon's for sure. Like I do
I
appreciate
really need to watch the, new
the
one. I
original
keep
the original
forgetting
or the reboot?
both.
But yeah,
Okay,
I was
that's
gonna
fair.
say you
Yeah.
pluralized that shit on purpose. I know it.
Yes. So I mean, so there's Amazon and Amazons, but Amazons, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
100% like love those. I went back through
It's very
Tokozilla
unique.
and watched the original Amazon series, and I found out that it was actually canceled because, like, so I think it's like episode 8. They had to put clothes on him because his parents were like really upset. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like he was just in a loincloth and just hanging
Yep, very
off.
He was a
Tarzan.
jungle man. What
Yeah.
do they want?
Like there was one scene where he like climbed in a window and you saw just an inch of butt meat, and it
Yeah.
was and people went nuts. But then you also have like the
Does he eat people?
They, and no, but he does. Oh my god, the
He
gore!
bites
in-
monsters.
Okay.
You got to give him credit for the gore that was in that. You know?
Oh
like,
yeah, it was
like,
killer.
That's my thing. Is I'm like, why are we so sensitive to the
But a butt cheek?
quote unquote sexual nature of things that we all have, like butt
It was
cheeks?
the 70s.
not the
and people
gore.
were trying to be more modest. They were trying to get out of the
Well,
love.
Yeah.
I get that for America, but I guess I don't have quite as of a
Oh, that's right,
sensitive
because
cue
that
for
doesn't even make
Japan.
sense because it was Japan, not the U.S. What the fuck
Yeah.
are you talking about?
Yeah. Have you watched Black Sun?
Yes, I
Yes.
did. And okay, all right.
Yeah.
I have some opinions. I have some
Yeah.
opinions. I have some
Okay.
opinions. Visually, beautiful, stunning. CGI, awesome suits. Not enough to say about the design. Like amazing. Towards the end, it sucked, and I
Yeah.
just was not satisfied with the climax. I feel like the ending didn't make a lot of sense for some of the original storylines that they just completely scrapped.
I
So-
am curious what they do because it's been greenlit for another season.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is important.
Yeah, so I am very curious to see how they pick it up because I agree the ending is a little off.
And
Overall, it's like
militarizing 8-year-old kids.
yeah, it is like one of my favorite
You want to come in
recent
here and show your
Toku
bit?
projects.
You sure? So my girlfriend is just beyond the computer. She's peeking around the door because she actually,
heard her.
I've gotten her hooked on Kamen Rider. We are,
There you go.
You bastard! How'd you do it?
well, you know, it's just my suave charms and my fat.
That's what we've been missing. It was my understanding that it was officially announced that it would be back for a second season, but I could be mistaken. That could have been a Illuminati post that I took more seriously than I should have.
Fair enough. Sometimes, like a lot of the Illuminati stuff, no disrespect, is a bit far fetched and a bit of a reach because it's like fan things. Like, how could
A little bit of
somebody-
disrespect because
Beetleborg.
sometimes they take huge leaps.
the Beetleborg thing, for example? You
Yes.
read their article on that? Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Can I recommend a series to you? Me and my girlfriend just started it.
Yes, 100%.
It's so it's on Tokuzilla, all 4 seasons. Each
Okay.
season is only 12 episodes long. It's called Dogengers, and it
Oh,
is-
yeah, 100%. Yeah, hell yeah.
I love it. Like just
Yeah.
taking mascots and adapting them into their own independent series.
Yeah. I'm not up to date, but I've watched the first season.
We just started the first season. We're not that far into, so
Okay.
screw it. But so far, I love it.
Did
And-
they watch
Huh? Do you watch Geats?
Yes. Yeah, I'm up to date on Geats and King Oger, both. This is the
Well,
first year that I followed both of them.
I am behind on Dogengers. I want to show you something real quick.
Yeah, go for it. So
How do I
I'll,
share my screen?
while you're pulling stuff, I think you should be able to ask to share screen.
I think I figured it out.
There
And-
you go. And then I can just boop.
Oh gosh, that's
So while you're pulling that up, I will share my introduction to Dogengers was I am good friends with Matthew Palmer, who is the creator of Immortal Red Fox.
yes.
And like we're talking about Ivan with Jamingers, and then Matt with Immortal Red Fox. I have my indie toku comic. I don't have live action stuff. My indie toku comic is Godpunk, and Matt is like one of the Immortal Red Fox is like one of the only, as far as I understand, recognized local heroes located in America.
Okay.
Like he's been recognized by the like local hero fest in Japan, where all of these mascot characters that are showing up in Dogengers, they like attend this annual festival where all these prefectures and companies and all this stuff have their mascots and their local heroes and all that jazz. And Immortal Red Fox is like the only one that's made the trek over from the U.S. and has kind of been recognized over the years.
Oh my god,
So-
I feel so bad because I had the name and I've lost it and I can't remember how to pronounce it. But go ahead. I'm so sorry. I'll find it eventually.
No, you're good. But yeah, that was my introduction to Dogengers, because like my big focus in tokusatsu for the last I don't know, decade now. Oh, holy shit, it's been a decade.
Wow.
Yeah, my
Don't
like
say that ever again.
I know my hyper fixation for like a year in my like toku fandom has been specifically like independent tokusatsu and local heroes, and it's trying to like Immortal Red Fox is the closest I've seen to that getting replicated in the US, but it is like such a unique occurrence in Japan for like mascot and local hero culture. Like eventually my wife and I will make it over to Japan for a trip. I've got a handful of friends who have made it over, but I've got to go during local Hero Fest because it just looks too fun.
The fact that Adam's been more than once.
I can't believe I don't remember the name. There it is. Okay, it was Tai. I thought it was Dai, like D-A-I.
Oh.
Yes,
This.
Inazuman. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched this and the sequel, and I loved it. I wish they would adapt this into a series.
Yeah. I've
Like
only
this-
seen bits of it, but it is familiar.
There's only two films, and they're each like 45 minutes long. So basically, you have this group of people who are creating like the world's best like TV series or whatever, and this girl goes back in time and gives them these suits and like convinces them that they are like and bestowed the powers of God and stuff, and so they think they're like the worst people ever. Like when it comes to combat, it gives them the confidence to just kick ass. And then suddenly it just they're like, oh, it's all a lie, but yet our ideals are the same, so let's go. And it's like so it's just so great. I would love to see them adapt that into a series.
Yeah. There's a lot of those little like obscure pieces that ought to be picked up on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely for sure. So like the Toei web series things that they do every once in a while.
Yep.
So they did Kamen Rider Shinobi a couple years back, right? And then they just brought Shinobi back for the special for Keiwa and stuff in Kamen Rider Geats. They spent more time and more love on the Punk Jack short than anything, and completely threw Keiwa under the bus with this one. I feel like it really sucked. I'm sorry. If anyone loves Shinobi, I made it through the first installment, like the first web episode, and it was great. The second one was like, what is this? And the third one was like, oh my god, just end already. And then
I've only seen the first one, so I won't weigh in.
And then when the short came out,
it wasn't enough to keep me to want me to watch the second one at least.
And then when the short came out, they had like the perfect team up of writers, and they blew it. They blew it.
I feel like that tends to happen sometimes in the ancillary writer and Sentai media, where they kind of like have a really good lineup or a really good opportunity, and they kind of blow it either in the execution or in the last minute.
Well, I mean, shit. Look at John Romita Jr. and the fact that like just in comic books, like John Romita Jr. He was a huge dude in the '90s, and now all of a sudden we're in 2013, and he's.
I have no idea who he is.
Yeah, that's fair. So Spider-Man wise, he drew a lot of like the early 2000s Spider-Man.
Okay.
Right before Civil War. I forget who took over after him, but him and Straczynski had a pretty solid Spider-Man run. But now Romita Jr. is doing the current Spider-Man run, and it looks like a kid's drawing everything. So
I feel like those oddball franchises are really what it is for me, because I have a thing for like niche stuff, things that people don't normally like.
yeah.
Like, I mean, for Christ's sake, I collect Atari Jaguar stuff.
Sorry, just specifically Atari Jack. I wasn't ready for that.
It's like, I mean, here, hold on. Do you guys know what an Ouya is?
What?
All right, so you see this box right here?
Yeah.
This is an Atari VCS. This is Atari's new console, and then this behind here is also a console.
Okay. All right.
This is called an Ouya. This was the very first Android-based console that was released in 2013, and it failed. I've learned how to hack these things, and I'm a huge part of the Android gaming community now, and so it's like underappreciated. There are a ton of great games on there that I just can't say enough nice things about.
Okay.
But when it comes to tokusatsu, it's kind of like the same thing for me. I like the nicheness, the closed off community, the small community that just obsesses over it, you know?
Okay.
I had a point I wanted to make earlier, but now that Cam's back, I'll go ahead and say it.
Go for it.
First off, one of the things that I really love about Kabuto is they have an exclusive American character, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Mac Windy, he plays Yama, and or the actor who plays Mac.
Dragonfly. Yeah. Okay.
Yanma became Dragonborg.
Yeah,
In-
Dragonborn.
Dragonborg.
Because isn't that what Yama means?
Yeah, Yanma means dragonfly.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was about to look it
And
up. Never
so-
mind.
Not since then. I remember as a kid or young teenager seeing this really poorly dubbed episode, and I was like, "Whoa!" You know, this is someone who looks like me and stuff. You know, and it felt like I was represented. And
Hold on. Are you saying representation matters?
sort of, but no.
What?
I'm not. Sort of, but no. Let me be clear. It's nice to be represented, you know, but I have not seen a real American representation in Kamen Rider. I mean, there was the one guy in Fies, but it doesn't really count, I feel
the
like.
closest we got was Dragon Knight. Like,
Well, yeah.
sadly, that is the closest we got to an American recognition.
Currently, the closest we would get is in Geats. There are the two American actors.
That's where I'm leading into.
who didn't
Tom
even
and
get an actual henshin.
yep,
John,
John and Ben is their names. Tom Constantine.
John, not Jean, correct? I'm sorry. I
John,
just
yeah,
want to
John.
make sure. Okay.
Well, in Kuga there was a guy named Jean, but I think he was both Caucasian and Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And John
Yeah.
has his own indie toku now that's like I think it's
Tom
called,
Constantine?
yeah, he has his own. It's a knight, like an Arthurian knight based indie toku that he has started launching.
Send it to me. I will support it
100%. I
wholeheartedly.
think he's got like one episode or a promo or something out already.
My thing is when we started watching Geats and I saw those guys, right? I was filled with childish enthusiasm. Like as an American, seeing somebody who is like me in one of my most loved franchises for the first time, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, they gotta become writers. They gotta become writers. And then they implied that they were writers. Like, fuck yeah, they're gonna bring them back. And then they do. And they destroy their powers. It was like the biggest slap in the face. You got to see them transform. You never got to see their suits.
Oh.
And right now, they are just throwing money into one-off suits for one-off characters when that could have gone to them.
Right.
Which there's a large demographic that wants this.
Yeah.
Would pay good money for this. And they won't do it.
Yeah. So it's,
maybe in like
Don't think about all
what
the
is it,
Ryuki
the
suits that they made
V-Cinema?
for just that.
yeah.
maybe they'll do it in the V Cinema, but I don't see it as a realization. I don't think that there's enough people upset that they're not getting their thing, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, and Toei is so bad at recognizing like non-Japanese audience wants in terms of like content. Like they're getting better in terms of distribution ever so slightly. They're way behind Subaraya with Ultraman stuff. But they're slowly, ever so slowly getting the point that like, hey, we have a market overseas in, you know, the EU and the UK and America and elsewhere. And like South and Central America have a huge market because they got a bunch of Metal Hero stuff dubbed and subbed over there that we didn't even get.
Yep.
And like there's a giant market that I don't think Japan even realizes. Like I don't think Toei
Oh,
or any
no.
of those guys are looking
You
at.
know-
Whereas Subaraya is like, oh hey, we're gonna sub the new Ultraman with like Johnny Young Bosch and a bunch of
Yeah, I was about to say because he did. It's is it Blazer now?
yeah, the new one.
Yeah, Blazer.
And which, like, by the way, if nobody has watched I think 2 episodes are out now of Ultraman Blazer with Johnny Young Bosch voicing the main character.
It's worth
It's
it.
really fun.
Oh, yeah?
You're talking
I'll
about Amazon and Amazons. It is very Amazon adjacent.
yeah.
It's very feral. It is.
I'll have to watch
behavior.
it for sure.
Yeah,
It's
very
definitely
fun.
worth the try.
God, Okay, first off,
John's,
I need to.
Toku.
You need to. Oh,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I need. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to keep doing this. I'm just so excited about this whole conversation. It's just Okay, so first off, out of my friend group, I'm the only person who is obsessed with this shit. Okay, so to be
You
fair,
can't
this
really-
is the first time I've been able to go into a full depth conversation about this. With
oh yeah,
anyone.
tis him out.
Oh yeah. So I'm getting all of that like built up adrenaline out right now. And so
The Beetle Bros are about.
since getting into this whole tokusatsu thing, this whole it's always been a part of my life, but not as strong as it is now.
Mhm.
There's that inner child in me that is really just like booming right now with this stuff. And I need to catch up on King Andre first because we got to episode 5, but then we started watching Black Sun and a bunch of other stuff, and so
Yeah.
we kind of had to sacrifice one for the other.
Right.
Yeah, we're still watching Kuga. For the first time, my girlfriend is watching Kuga.
Huge.
And,
Yeah. It's hard with me because my wife's not good with subtitles. She's a little ever so slightly still dyslexic, struggles
I
with
can't read either.
yeah. So what? No. I mean, like it's that's whenever people have the like sub versus dub debate, I always weigh in with like, there's a lot of people who cannot consume subtitles the way that the rest of us can.
I find
It's
myself
totally
pausing
valid.
a lot. I
Yeah.
seriously, my girlfriend, Kirsten,
Yeah,
about how fast do you think you would say that you read?
I'm not really sure, but I know I read pretty fast.
Yeah, because like
Pretty
we'll
fast.
be watching a TikTok that has like a massive wall of text or whatever.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
she just
it's always
burns
that
through it.
Translate shit.
yeah,
yeah.
well, she's done in 3 seconds, and I'm here like 15 seconds later, getting to the last line, and it's like, you're done already. She's like, yeah, just swipe. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
I'm a
Like-
fast reader too. I
Yeah.
can relate.
And so,
Yeah.
so I get it. I'm not like picking on your wife at all. I just
No,
want
no,
to
no.
would never do that. I'm not. How's that going for you, by the way?
No, it goes.
It's great. Whenever Kaz picks on your wife, it's really fun.
To clarify, I'm sure.
I think it's really funny because you don't need to clarify. Not for the Beetle Bros.
Gonna dig that hole deeper. Just
Yeah, go for it. No, man, the only thing we've ever gotten yelled at for on social media is because Ryan belches too
Yeah.
much on air.
And I got all those out right before we recorded. Cameron can testify to that.
But
It's so good.
going back to Geats, I really feel like Toei is dropping the ball. Like,
Yeah.
they really need to pick up on John and Ben because there's a demographic for these characters. I mean,
so I for one, I haven't been keeping up. I think the most current Kamen Rider series I think that I'd say I watched from start to finish and followed closely would have been Fours, followed really closely by Wizard because
Mhm.
that's the most in the current generation I tried to be. Unfortunately, I think
We started with Kiva.
we started with Kiva, but I think wasn't Wizard going on I think my dad got sick whenever I
Yeah.
was following.
We were in high school.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I started dropping off on the modern Kamen Rider, but like, oh fuck, I had a point. What was it? Come on, Ryan. You're on the air. Do it.
Current seasons.
Current seasons. Something about. Oh, it doesn't feel like they're taking themselves quite as seriously as they used to.
yeah,
And
the
it's
early-
not like they have to be dark or anything, but
Right.
the story wise,
Yeah.
they're just not like.
Geats has tried.
so
I don't know if they've succeeded.
Okay.
So honestly, there was a lot of arcs in Geats that were quite dark, especially in the beginning. Like
Oh,
it
and
really
Kate-
wears
like,
it really
Currently,
wears-
Kawa's arc, where we're at right now,
oh yeah,
is pretty
for
dark.
sure.
Well, in
For
fact,
sure.
Fours is what I consider to be the beginning of the childish era, as I call it. But
Well,
even
and they
that
were-
was dark.
They
Like,
were gonna be
like-
dark, and then I think
feel like-
Fukushima happened during filming,
right. Yeah.
and they decided to go lighter.
I feel like after Hibiki is when
Yeah.
things started to get less serious. So here's the thing about the early Heisei era.
Yeah, no, I know, but there's O's, fours, double. Like there are a lot of pretty dark series that can. The
O's
Heisei era
was really back and forth.
Oh yeah.
It was. I mean, that definitely balanced. But that was kind of like the Spider-Man in my eyes. It balanced the comedy and the.
I can't say enough
Serious.
good things about Ryuki and Faiz. If I would recommend any franchise,
Oh, I think Faiz is kind of the epitomal. Like that's
It's a gold
kind of
standard
one of the
kind of.
best Kamen Rider series.
you know, there's a lot of mixed reviews for Faiz, but the thing that I love about Faiz the most is that it's not just like your typical random monsters like the Yamatos or the mirror monsters.
They're people.
Yeah, they're people who had tragic events and essentially became, demons, orphanox.
Mhm.
They don't have their business is unfinished. And
Yeah.
I love that because they really lure you in to a lot of their stories and you feel bad.
Yeah.
Like
Especially- there was the bad guy, I get, because you follow the main protagonist and the main bad guy, right? Because it's been a while since I've watched Faiz.
He died, and 2 years later comes back, and his girlfriend got a new boyfriend, and I felt
It's a
so
very
bad for
emotional
him.
series.
Yeah.
But when they did Amazons, I felt like they really brought that back. They had a junkyard where this guy, he was like a rose monster, and his wife was human. And she took care of him. And he genuinely, even in the state that he was in, genuinely loved her.
Mhm.
And that one broke my heart.
Right.
I think the darkest aspect for Ryuki, they found a body in the wall, actually, in one of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Ryuki is so dark for what it is.
I forgot about
And
that.
transitioning from that into Dragon Knight was like, I don't know. Dragon Knight is great for many reasons. Like, I can't say enough about that. Matt Mullins, I followed him since he was in Sideswipe on AGT.
Yeah.
See,
It's one of those rare occasions where something got dubbed back into Japanese, distributed in Japan, and there's at least a subset of the fandom in Japan that decided that Dragon Knight was more fun to watch than Ryuki, or at least was equally worth watching. Whereas, like, I don't think that happens with Power Rangers, really.
in my
Maybe in
personal
Korea
opinion,
it does. I think in South Korea they redub some
She's
Sentai
real.
as Power Rangers.
I don't.
Oh, yeah.
She's real. I told you.
I'm glad I've done enough drugs to
God.
collectively hallucinate with you.
What was that?
No. I said I'm glad I've done enough drugs to collectively hallucinate with you.
Hallucinate. Oh.
Yeah. It's okay, honey. You're not real. I'm not real.
You're like
Half
my
of us
dog,
aren't
I'm not
real. No, but Ryuki versus Dragonite, I honestly really hated Dragonite, and I think I might have seen it as a kid and written it off.
That's probably why.
But
Go
I
back
think-
and watch it.
I think what it mainly comes from is because I was introduced with Kiva. Kiva was my first Kamen Rider.
Your
thanks to
standard
this
was
guy.
high, and I get that.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was starting off from a bad position, but I think was that the very next one I watched? Because I
it
can't
probably
remember
was because I
thinking of one
I
between
found
the two.
there was it wasn't YouTube, but there was a website that was streaming all of Dragon Knight at some point.
Kiss
Well,
it.
and
around
then
the
since
time
your
we watched
introduction
Kiva.
to me, I had only gone to TV Nihon. Like that's how I had.
And
watched
now they're
everything.
nuked.
Yeah. Which is why I'm comfortable saying
Yeah.
the name online.
Guys are adorable.
Oh my god! I can't remember. Where are your helmets, goddammit?
It's one of them in the drawer, the other ones are in the garage. They're all unpainted 3D prints. They're not as cute. Won't be as cute.
You,
Well, Kaz, I don't want to keep you guys all night. Before we
right.
close out
Jesus
and
Christ.
pivot into anything else, I just wanted to kind of bounce back to Beetleborgs Apocallix and
sorry.
Do you want to try
What-
it again?
Beetleborgs Apocallix. That's the
Okay.
yeah.
It's Apocalypse and Metallics.
Yeah. So I know we have the kind of your episode 0, your pilot episode is out. What do you have a semi-established timeline? I know you've got Agent Dax and Operation Prototype in the works,
So,
kind of in between the next
Not as a
Beetleborgs
promise
promo.
for any audience members. This is
So-
not a concrete
Yeah, no.
cementing contracts saying this is when this is going to come out.
But is there, if somebody's to expect the next installment of your Beetleborgs project, what does everybody have to look forward to in that?
So there is a lot of things that I could say right now. How much more time do I have?
Give your, whatever it is that you've got to give on your.
It depends entirely if Cameron's okay with me lighting a cigarette inside of his house.
Which I'm not.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. We are taking up 2.5 hours at this point. So
you're good, man.
So we do have a GoFundMe. I think that's important to mention. And the reason why the GoFundMe, everything that if anyone donates to the GoFundMe, which I'll give you the link for that if you want to put it in the description, that money does not go to Beetleborgs specifically. It goes to VFX, the suits, and stuff like that. And if there's a particular request somebody wants, like I want to see this, if it's in our power to supply it, we will do our best to do so. The thing is, we want to try to at some point open a Patreon at least to give because we're going to auction off the gold suit, the armor plate that I have that doesn't fit because, it doesn't fit. And so we're going to have everybody sign it and we're going to auction it off for however much it costs to make that particular piece.
Yeah, good idea.
So these suits are expensive. They cost $3,000, but we managed to get it down to, so the gold armor, we got it down to 1,600. The titanium, we got down to 18 because it was the most detailed out of the three. Okay. And the titanium purple, we don't have a set value, but I estimate it to be between 14 and 18 as well, because it too is detailed because of the feminine physique, and we'll probably have a male suit actor, so there's going to be a lot of movement in that. If anybody wants to donate, that's what your money goes to help make this project more of a thing than it just being a pilot web series or something like that.
And we'll get that link in the description and everything for this, and in the episode description for the audio, and in the video description and in the video. I'll make sure I have the right link for you.
If you check the credits of the pilot, there are 60 people's names there that donated their time and their money. And anybody who donates gets their name in the credits. They are recognized just like you would with a regular Patreon, but we haven't set one up yet because we don't really want to monetize the film. And we feel like if we set up a Patreon, that might be a conflicting thing, but that doesn't mean we can't offer perks on our end. Maybe we can buy you a ticket to an event whenever we have a table, or you can have a chance to win the armor, or, maybe some other nifty things. Q&A. Yeah. Or like a Q&A, things like that. Yeah. But, we don't want to sell the video. We don't want to sell anything that is not legally tendered by, whatever laws are in place. But
sell a producer credit or something like that kind of thing.
Exactly. So you can look out for that if that's something that interests you. As far as the characters, the stories, I'll give a little bit of backstory for everybody. So Ashley McCulloch, the one who built our titanium silver armor, he also is the suit actor for Shadowborg. He's out of Australia, so special shout out to him. Our friend Ankh Masa from Japan did Fireborg. That is his suit. The White Beetle Blaster is Darrell Miller. He's out of Indiana. Wonderful guy. He's actually working on his own Beetleborg fan film now. We'd actually been in communication before the launch of Apocallix, so I think he had plans for it, but I'm not permitted to say anything because it's not my project.
Right.
So if you guys want to follow him, he's on Facebook and Instagram, The Real Darrell Miller. And then Wolfie. The Wolfie costume was made by DeVecchio Coleman. He runs a company called Designs by DeVecchio. He runs a cosplay company here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Great guy, by the way. He also plays Namlock in Operation Prototype, and he will be playing our main villain, Erebus. Nice. As far as release, so first things first, Operation Prototype has to come out first. It's almost complete. We're ready to go. There are 2 hiccups that we had when filming this in Apocallix, and that was audio, which if you notice when watching it, there was a lot of bad audio in that room that we filmed in. There was a lot of echo, a lot of traffic. The heater kept cutting on and off because it was very cold that day. So we had to ADR a lot of it. And there were only 2 segments. One segment was when she said, because you have to let me go. We couldn't get it balanced. And then the other one where she's handing me the bonders and she says, I'm so sorry, I'm losing my voice.
No, you're good.
You've only been talking for 2.5 hours. It's all right.
And when she's handing me the bonders and she says it was never your fault, those were the two segments that we really had to ADR because it was just one of
And
them.
then, unfortunately, it kind of shows.
Yeah, that
Like,
was
you can
that
tell.
was the biggest thing that hurt me the most because
Yeah.
I did buy some audio kits now that'll be very helpful to us. I bought a Zoom H1N with some of the donation money, so thank you guys for that. And then I also picked up one of these Bluetooth mics that you often see in like TikTok videos, and you'd be amazed how well these work. Oh, that's upside down.
Yes.
But you'd be amazed at how well they work. So I'm confident that we'll have better audio in the future.
Oh yeah.
Audio has always been something we struggled with. When we filmed for Operation Prototype, we filmed. Oh my God, the cicadas! Because like last year, there was a barragement of cicadas. It was so bad. We were first things first. We were filming underneath a bridge at a construction site.
That was a 17-year brood, so you had more than usual.
the
Sorry, I'm a
amount.
cicada nerd.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't we just have a bunch of cicadas in our hands?
I need to send you the original video clip because like all you hear is. That's all you hear. And I'm sitting there with the morpher and the hologram. I'm like, okay, so Yama, what do I do now? And you don't even hear that. All you hear is, you know, it's like, it was so bad.
And so, if you watch our or listen to our breakdown or our review or whatever,
Review,
we call it, of the fan film, like all of our criticisms basically come from a place of like, this is an episode 0 and it's
the learning opportunity.
Yeah,
and it's technical
exactly.
difficulties that you work your way through.
right,
and-
like
yeah.
yeah,
And that's like very clear in the final product of the first episode is like anything that is a like gripe or nitpick is very clearly like, okay, like you're figuring it out, moving forward.
it's not like us critiquing Beetleborgs where it's like, all right, this is
These are
Saban.
professionals,
Why
they should
the
know
fuck
better.
Did they do this?
Yeah.
So a lot of people might ask why or how are we going to make all these actors work with being so far away? That's one thing that we're figuring out. So with Ashley for Shadowborg, we are doing green screen until the final climax. We'll figure out getting a new suit for that towards the end. We don't know how many episodes, but we definitely want to do a long series. We want to give it like actual credit, you know, for where it's. I want to say 7 to 10 episodes.
Okay.
It might be shorter
Solid
than
run.
Yeah.
It depends on the budget, depends on if the suits survive, because these suits will get destroyed.
Yeah.
And if they do,
Well, I was gonna say I almost expect a fan project like this to almost be like a 4-episode project, just because of how difficult it is to do this without a full professional setup.
Yeah.
And
the
all
the
that.
first episode we're going to try to do 26 minutes. We're going to give it a full length
Okay.
at least. And
Yeah,
if
that's
too
an
much,
endeavor.
If that's too much, then we'll save that for later. But we definitely are going to commit to make a minimum of 9 per episode to a maximum of 20 to 26. That's our goal.
Yeah.
We have
Nice.
time. As far as release, again, Operation Prototype comes out first. Dax, we're finalizing between now and the end of the year because we need to have it ready to go by January. So the next episode would not be seen probably until February, and then the final suit introductions will be whatever comes after that.
Right.
The Hillhurst monsters. There's a lot of other questions like, well, how are we going to introduce Flabber and stuff? My heart wants Billy to come back.
Oh, who doesn't? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big ask, but
I will never have the budget to pay for that kind of thing. I know that. But if I ever, what is the cat doing?
I don't know.
the cat's like, damn right, you don't have the budget for that.
But if I ever have the chance, and this is a promise, if I ever have the chance, I will find a way to make that a reality.
Yeah.
If not, if Billy's watching, we just want to say that we love you and we thank you for everything you did in our childhood, and you have our love and support. But
and to everybody else, get in that GoFundMe and we'll make it happen.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Again,
tweet your local Billy Forrester too.
Again, we actually do need to update it. I didn't update it past releasing the photos for Titanium Silver over here, so I'm going to add the episode there. and a couple other things. And then we're also going to add some BTS like photos and stuff too.
Nice.
We'll keep it updated and maintained between now and the end of the year. The goal being to at least give you guys something to look forward to. I am also looking at creating a Facebook page for it and an Instagram page dedicated to it specifically. I don't expect a lot of large following, but anything that you guys like or want to suggest.
I mean, personally, I know for a fact that there are quite a few Beetleborgs.
Is the community that big?
Production members. It's not like, I mean, big is kind of a relative term, isn't it?
Yeah, there's more of a follow. Surprisingly, there's more of a following on Facebook than there is elsewhere.
Yes, actually, Billy Forster is an admin for that page.
Yeah, he's an admin for one of them, and then
well, I know
the guy that was Fangula was an admin for another page for a while. I think he may have passed that off to somebody else.
He did.
Maybe Taylor.
No, unfortunately, it's not Taylor. I did ask about it because.
Oh, okay.
He ran the Metallics fan page, and the last post was a short film he did back in like 2017.
Yeah.
It sucks because I would love to see him still be a part of the community. You know.
I do know on Instagram, Joe's actress, Herbie, Roland's actor, Rick Schick, Wolfie,
and
Gabe, like all of the interactions that I've had with people who are actually a part of the show have been on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I know that's a pretty decent place to contact them.
Right.
Yeah. And like tagging them typically gets you a shit. You know, they'll share your stuff and
they'll at least like
stuff like that.
That's a good little bit of dopamine.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if you guys can send me like their pages and stuff, I will tag them for a little bit of not necessarily exposure, but just to show them, hey, this is a thing.
Yeah,
for sure. Man.
Herbie would at least like it.
Yeah.
I tagged him in the post. He was the only one on Instagram I'm following. Well, I follow Billy too, but he doesn't use Instagram.
Yeah. He's not on very often. I think of all of them, I think like Gabe and maybe Drew's actor.
Wolfie's for a while, but he's gone offline with social and social media in general.
I do want to clarify about the Hillhurst monsters. I think this is really important. It's not just about the whole flabber thing, but so if you look back at the short film and you pay attention to the comics, so we have like one titled "Mummies Found in Egypt" and "Empires in Transylvania." So
it's like they all went back to their original places.
So let me give you some context about the Hillhurst monsters for this.
Please.
We will at some point at least feature Fangula. There's a goal for that. The problem is we don't want it to be too damn cheesy. Because if I go and just
it's kind of it was an embracing endeavor with something like a Saban parody or not parody.
I want. Okay, I would love to have them all, but again, budget is the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Frankie and Mums, I don't want to do Mums only for the simple reason of late Turney passed away, and I don't feel like I can do him justice.
Okay, good.
I have a lot of respect and a lot of love for him, and a lot of my friends have a lot of love and respect for him. I just don't feel like I can give Mums justice on a personal level. I feel like I could with Frankie and Wolfie, and those are also two of my favorite characters. Fangula and Did I say Fangula?
Fangy and Wolfie, yeah.
Okay, because I for some reason the words came out and I heard.
Or did
Frankie.
you say Frankie?
I think you might have said Frankie and Wolfie.
My apologies, Fangula.
Yeah.
But those are always my two favorite characters, and as you saw, we have Wolfie.
Mm-hmm.
Wolfie, a little bit of context on him. So all right. So Mums went back to Egypt to live a life of luxury.
Does he have a wife? He was
a little peace and quiet
Maybe.
from the chaos of, Charterville.
Yeah.
Fangula has gone back to Transylvania because he had kind of like a chance for, not necessarily inheritance, but like a chance to really let those fangs shine. You know what I mean? And then as far as Frankie, we didn't really give him a story, so we need to on the next one. Wolfie, though. Wolfie, just like Roland, embraced fame and is an action star.
Nice.
And we will take advantage of that.
So that's why he was with Okay. Okay. Oh my god. No,
It all comes together. I love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah, because that was
Right.
And then as far as how we'll continue the story, Joe has obviously woken up. So we'll kind of leave the situation with Joe a little bit of a mystery at this time. And we'll have the story focus mainly on Josh, Drew, and Roland, the three main guys. And then towards the end of that, we'll introduce Joe's character officially outside of being in a coma and give her suit the following episode.
Okay.
So we have a straight path.
Yeah.
Launch for the first installment, I want to say, is going to be February. And we'll extend it beyond that. That's as far as I can go.
right on.
Cool.
I realize I
we-
ramble and trail, but
Yeah,
No, you're
you know,
good.
we all do.
And yeah, and we will on our end on like the Project Louder and the Beetle Bros side, we'll try to keep everybody on our end updated with, if
Well,
you've
you
got a new GoFundMe link or like updates and stuff like that, or
well, you
anything
guys
like that you're trying to push.
you guys get exclusive information before anyone else. That is my promise.
Okay.
I appreciate it, man.
Mhm.
Like that, and like I said, we will definitely make it out to Fayetteville for a convention. If not, I mean, see, what's the next one? I guess
Try
the next
and-
one would be next year, right?
No, actually, so we have 2 events every year. The next one is in October. It's Star Wars theme, Fire and Ice.
Oh, okay.
But I'd recommend you try to come out for April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try
April's
to come
probably
out.
more our speed. We'll push for it.
But okay.
I will give you some more behind the scenes information on that and why
Yeah.
I say April. But I got to solidify a few things first.
Fair
For
enough.
sure, man.
We don't
Certain much.
have
Yeah.
so Apocalypse is going to be more of a drama than it is going to be action oriented. Simply
Right.
because, again, these suits are really expensive, so we're only going to do
Mhm.
combat in them when we need to.
Right.
You know, that doesn't mean like episode 1 isn't going to have any. Trust me, there's a lot planned that fans are going to love. There's a lot planned. We're even taking advantage of the weapons and the input cards.
Nice.
A lot of
Oh,
things
yeah.
that I never understood why Metallics didn't really utilize the elemental cards like they did in B Fighter, but we're using those 100%. So that's going to happen. That's a thing.
Okay.
I guess it would kind of end up being an exclusive thing to Apocalypse. I know they used the data decks and stuff in the series, but I
A
just
couple times.
they
It was
just
uncommon.
yeah, they just didn't use it the way they should have. Like
Yeah.
so, like the elemental cards could like create earthquakes in stuff. You know, like why not do that? Like
Yeah.
production value. I have 3 bonders, I have 3 lasers. I just got to paint them, silver, black, or whatever.
Right.
And because why did they make them blue?
So they look less like real guns.
Yeah. It's entirely.
It's the same reason you
censorship
can't buy a G1 Megatron anymore because it looks like a real gun. Because I
I
was-
you had like.
I do, they're up there, but like I have the pink
yep.
and purple from season 1, and then the data laser, and then the input magnum, the blue and white version of the Metallics one.
So we're definitely going to introduce Josh first. He's going to be our first introduction. We're not going to see him morphed right away. We got to get Darrell out here from Indiana as a suit actor for White Beetle because we don't have the suit. Right now we have Wolfie, Titanium, Gold, and then we're going to have Purple, and then we're going to have Shadowboard last. So that's it. And I have a long-term plan for a custom, one-of-a-kind Beetleborg armor, but that'll probably be towards the climax of the franchise. So,
And that's probably like years away, right? Like.
probably 2 years.
Okay.
Max.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, max.
Yeah.
Not coming up in the next month or so.
No, God, I would be homeless. I'd be living out of that armor. Like,
Yeah.
not even kidding. Oh my God, no,
Yeah.
I can't express how expensive these things are. And I will.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like make an anxiety spike.
No, you're good. It's like Vietnam all over again. No, but so I will also towards the end of this sell the suits. So
Okay.
if you want a chance to have a screen used suit, just know that they're set to scale to whoever's wearing them. So
Right.
Right.
I will say this: we're building them with one type of body type in mind. That's important.
A full-grown Asian man that's had his growth stunted by cigarettes.
Nope.
Oh my god.
Okay,
not
so not the
It's not
actual...
1998 anymore. Yeah.
So I am 195 pounds. I'm 5'9". I'm kind of thick for a skinny boy. These suits are designed for people who are between 5'7" and 5'11", which is fairly average height. And they are also designed for anybody who is between the weight class of 153 and 215. So
Okay, that's a decent range.
yeah. So there's a broad amount of people.
That's more accommodating than there. I feel like the weight.
It's better than spandex.
Yeah, they always gear it to like
I don't have
really
the
tiny
Yeah.
people.
So I currently have the armor up in storage. Otherwise, I would showcase the flexibility in them.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I do need to get like the difference between titanium, silver, and gold is like this looks really good. But here's the thing. That's foam.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's one 3D printed and one's foam.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so this is our battle helmet. This is the one that we wear when we do combat. So
Yep.
that way if
Makes
it
sense.
breaks,
Yeah.
we're not out of
Stunt
the
prop versus hero prop.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way
And
it goes.
It's got you can't really see. Look into my hole.
Kinda,
Upholstery
yeah.
foam or something.
It's got plenty of padding in here.
Yeah.
You should add more.
So like if somebody like judo chops me in the head, it doesn't hurt.
Nice.
So it's got like a thick plate of foam in here, which is great.
I heard that's what real helmets were for.
Mm-hmm.
And here's can you hand me the green one real quick?
Yeah.
So I learned this the hard way. We were filming for Operation Prototype. This is the original helmet design. Unfortunately, I cannot pull it apart. You see this white piece?
Oh. Yeah.
So if it's held together right now by magnets. It's signed by Philip Jean Marie. God, why is his name eluding me right now? Dwayne Cameron and the actor who played That's actually a good point. John Guzman. Sorry. Anyway, no. So it's actually signed by them. I'm having this helmet remade because we did
Okay.
a stunt where my character gets smacked by a weapon and I fall back onto the ground, and unfortunately the helmet came off
Oh
Yeah.
man.
onto concrete at that.
Oh.
So the helmet is split where the visor is only held on by a thread at the top, at the
Okay.
very top. There is a split down the side. You can kind of see it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can see
Hairline
how
fracture.
it's not even anymore. You can see where the crack started.
Yeah.
You can see where it chipped, and you can see the mold right here. And then you can also see the worst part of it all here, where it's split all the way through to the visor, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the visor underneath to the mouth. So we learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Be good
Always
for a
hard way.
battle damage helmet down the line or something.
Because it is signed by the original actors from Wild
Right.
Force and Overdrive. This helmet will also be sold at some point.
Oh, there you
Okay.
go. Very cool.
The idea is that we auction it off, and any proceeds for auctioning this off will probably go to a charitable organization. Depends on what we have in place at the time.
Yeah.
But the idea is that somebody, who decides to auction or pay for it, it'll be they'll get the helmet, but the money will go to, whatever organization. We're only doing 3 episodes. We wanted to do 7. But for Operation Prototype, we're only doing 3. We're introducing Aaron Stryker, and then we're introducing Danny Griff, who is the Mystic Force Griffin Ranger. And then we're introducing the last episode, which will have the final climax with Erebus. And if I have my way, and I find enough suit actors, a crossover with Beetleborgs.
Nice. Very
Yep.
cool.
So anyways, I'll keep talking my head off. Thank you for that.
No, you're good, man.
Yeah,
That's-
in fact, just stay there, do that. We'll be back in about 8 hours. And
No, but that's a lot of stuff to give people to look forward to.
Mhm.
We've talked about this on our show, and I've talked about it with you and with TJ and other people in private conversations and on Twitter and stuff. There's not a lot specifically for like Beetleborgs fans, but for fans of like Saban products that aren't Power Rangers.
Yep.
To look forward to. There are
Toku fans in general.
there's a lot of like
My number one comment. I've gotten this on Instagram. I've gotten this in my inbox. I've gotten this on the video. I keep getting people saying, now we need a VR Troopers one.
Yeah.
It's
And I want
never
to.
ending.
Yeah.
I want to. But did you know that the VR Trooper costumes cost over $4,000?
Oh,
Yeah,
100%, man.
Like,
They're-
is it the
they're not-
helmets? Is it because they're so like
It's
weirdly
the armor. There's so many
detailed, or-
pieces.
Oh, okay.
The thing is like they're not even made out of like 3D print or foam. They are made out of a leather casting with
Yeah.
a finished glowing coat, and they have built-in LEDs.
Yeah, they're
I
intense,
can't
man.
afford- That's a car. That's a car payment.
Yeah, no, for real.
That's rent in California.
Yeah, that's a Miata.
Yeah. like
Yeah.
I can't. I will never afford that. I will never. I don't want to say I'll never.
I was
might-
gonna say you're gonna be a
Someday.
big Hollywood star in about 10 years.
Yeah,
I kind of wish.
that's not indie production numbers.
You're gonna share a studio with Steven Spielberg, but it's gonna be traded off every 12 hours.
See now you're just inflating my ego here. But
That's our
ideally-
job.
Ideally, I want Kraz Productions to be a company. So in my hometown, there are all kinds of film companies, but none of them specialize in movies. They all do
Okay.
like rap videos, and I'm not downplaying any of that. They just do rap videos. Like it's
It's
all
their
for-
space.
easier.
Yeah, it's their
It's a lot
specialty.
easier.
I was gonna say
Like-
Kansas City has a big music video scene as
Yeah.
well, and we also have a very struggling like film and commercial scene. Whereas like music videos, we have guys like Tech9 who
I
have
was
come out
gonna
of Kansas
say,
City
He kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
helped it
Yeah.
afloat.
have really kind of boosted that scene, whereas like film
Oh yeah,
and
dude, J.
TV
Cole from
hasn't.
here.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, like J. Cole. Like I have friends who went to high school with this guy, smoked a
Right.
cigarette on their back porch, like those kind of friends, And I would love to be able to get a film company started here where anybody can put their name on. Like I have worked with a lot of people who either have no experience or have all the experience in the world, and either way, we make it work and we make them look good.
Yeah.
I want to be able to create that for somebody, for the right community, for the right area, because if they want to get that kind of like quality or that kind of company, they got to go all the way to Wilmington or Charlotte or Atlanta. Like they have to drive a very long time. Like we're in the epicenter, and everything around us does nothing unless they go
Yeah.
outside of that
Mhm.
center. That also reminds me, Operation Prototype. Last thing. So we have a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of like Saban communities and fan projects. So there's 3 things that I'm doing with Operation Prototype, and this is for any Ranger fans or anyone who's producing their own independent series if they're interested. If you have something that might pique our interest, that you want us to put an Easter egg in, let us know. I have a buddy. He's got a comic book called Power Rangers Universe 3178. It's got a number. I created a mock-up comic for. Actually, I still have the photos. No, I think I still have the comic. Hold on. Okay.
This is one.
All right. So my buddy Jay created this fan comic. He gave me.
Sorry. You said there are 3 things, and I'm counting. This is the first one.
My bad.
I just want to keep track.
No, it's Universe 3072. My apologies.
okay.
So he commissioned some artwork for all 6 of his Rangers. And so he's like, what can you do Photoshop wise with this? So I went on like Adobe stock and got a couple like basic fonts and some stuff like that and some background art, just basic vector stuff. And so I created this for him.
Very cool.
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
I even created a fake barcode, Kraz on the
Nice. No, it feels like a legitimate comic.
And then when you go on the back, you introduce
Oh, yeah.
the 6th Ranger, right? And it looks legit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better than half of the props that we've seen for Beetleborgs.
Most of the props that we saw for Beetleborgs.
You know what's funny? This is just a Final Faction comic book from Dollar Tree.
Yeah, but that's all they ever are. They're always like Batman,
Batman
or some
comic.
shit. Yeah.
And the
The
reason
way to do it.
Yeah.
it's actually funny though because
I have
like
so many Nam comics I'm going to turn into prop comics.
so you guys watch the Beetleborg stop motion by Slava Fedorov?
Yeah.
So he actually uses Final Faction toys, and me and him got to talking. He's like, "Oh yeah, I like these toys. They look great because they look like Magnavours." And I was like, "You know what? I used Final Faction as well for a prop." It's like, who would have thought? Look at him.
Right. Small world.
Other thing.
2.
comes too. All right, so we have a prop that we built for the Xenotome. DeVecchio Coleman built it for us, and it looks legit. You'll see it in the film. I wish I could show you.
Are we going to see it in like the next episode, or is it going to be a little further in the line?
You're going to see it in the first episode.
Okay.
Like it's introduced like right at the end. It kind of teases Danny's character, but it is there. It looks legit, and let me tell you, the shots for that are fucking amazing. It's beautiful. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, we filmed we filmed in a swamp for that scene, and mosquitoes ate them alive. But they bit me
that'll
one-
happen.
It was very bad.
They bit me one time. They got them like 150.
Nice.
Either I stank or something was wrong with my blood. I should probably go to a doctor. I don't know. But the third thing, there is also a fan series that is being made right now, and it is called Guardian Hero Zero. So
yes, 100%.
Yeah. So the character Aaron Stryker, which is my character in this film, he's obsessed with tokusatsu cartoons. So we got Easter eggs all out. We got that
How
comic.
do you find the inspiration for that?
For what?
For being
well,
obsessed with Toku.
I just went down a rabbit hole, and I found crack, and I realized that this was better,
Fair enough.
So there's Easter eggs in it. We got Beetleborg Easter eggs. There's like a scene with VR Troopers where there's like a book in the fridge.
Nice.
It's like hella lazy, but awesome. And so Guardian Hero Zero, it's his favorite cartoon. So if you have an independent like fan project that you're producing, if there's a way that we can sneak it in there for fun, just to give you that free promo, let us know. My friend Venus, who is doing Ancient Age. It's a 3D animated Power Ranger concept based off of Egyptian mythology. She has sent me a logo. We have been in communication for the past year, and we are going to attempt to tie Erin to her project.
Okay.
I won't say how. I won't say the context of that. If she ever comes out and decides to say it, it's up to her. But because it's not my project, I won't say anything more.
Yeah.
But we're in communication. I'm going to try to sneak that in there for her. And yeah, if she's watching, you're awesome. Thank you so much. This community is amazing, by the way. So,
Yes,
I mean,
100%.
there's so many great people that just I never would have thought I would have met or connected with than this community. Like, you thought anime and comic books were like, this is its own universe.
I think it helps because a lot of those are kind of not oversaturated, but they're saturated.
They're saturated at all, whereas Toku can kind of be
we have
dry.
The people who are fans are fans. It's not like the fly by night, the Iron Man, has people who are like, I've never read a comic book in my life, but oh boy, I love that RDJ. He does look swell in a suit. People who like they don't really know. They're not like invested in it as much. They're like, I don't know, even like this movie sucked, and it's like, are you kidding me? It gave so much lore, like the cinematography, like from an actual like fan standpoint,
and not even in like a derogatory way to say, like, some people say like, a casual fan versus like a hardcore fan, but like there are people who are just like, they consume media and they enjoy it, but they're not like deep diving into it, whereas like, some of us will like sit and do a 3-year podcast about a franchise or make fan films about said franchises, like that kind of thing. It's like a next level of like dedication and like attention to detail and stuff in that.
I agree 100%.
It's a smaller amount but higher concentration.
Yeah.
I miss the generation where Brad Pitt had a chance to be Green Arrow. Those
man,
those really cringy like DC Marvel era like short series. Mutant X,
fans had the worst takes on superhero media, and it was amazing.
It's the Daredevil movie era of superhero movies.
Don't do that.
How do you think the gasoline stayed in the pavement enough for him to just light it like that?
I will die on this hill. I'm really happy that they're bringing Elektra, like Jennifer Gardner's Elektra, back for Deadpool 3.
They are?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Supposedly.
I've been so out of the loop.
And,
I barely even saw the. God damn it, Cameron! I'm about to rip your damn headphones off of you.
And the actress who played Jean Grey, she's coming back too, and from the
Yeah.
X-Men.
The original one from the
Yes,
original.
Jenna
Yes.
Falk or whatever.
Which is
her
funny
name
because I
How
just
has she aged? Because I haven't seen
No,
her in
so
anything
Like
since
Fine
then.
Wine.
I just
I
yeah, like Fine
assumed.
Wine. I just saw her in the Saint Seiya movie, the live action Saint Seiya
Oh,
movie.
she's in that?
She's the main antagonist in that movie.
Okay.
And kills it, but looks just like she was in X3. Like
Right.
She's got a pair of adamantium claws right through her belly and everything.
Yes, the whole
Okay,
thing.
I don't know what is in her gene pool in her family, but
Ha, Gene.
like I want it. Like
Yeah.
Well. Yeah.
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 No, but
Well, Yeah.
Go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think like we were talking about with like this is such a great community to like hang out in and know people in, and like you're talking about like Guardian Hero Zero. Ryan Nunez has been a buddy of mine for a while since he did some work with Immortal Red Fox. He's helped me out with some stuff.
Ryan is the sweetest guy. Like
He's so great.
He's a nice guy.
You too.
Oh my God, I know I keep saying this, but like all the people I meet are nice. But it's like he's a genuinely nice guy. Like
Yeah.
I burn for the person who breaks his heart because I will. Such a nice
Right. There's so few people in like specifically in the indie toku space that I've had bad interactions with. There's one or two out there, just like in any other fandom or community.
Usually from the older guard.
It usually is. It's kind of the older fans that have like very dead set
Specific.
opinions or stuff like that, like which happens in every fandom. But
Elena?
like I think that's a good place to kind of like end off and transition into the where can people find you, Kaz, and your projects that you're working on? I know you've got Kraz Productions on YouTube, and I Kraz Productions, I believe, is your Facebook. You have a Kraz Productions Facebook.
Okay, so oh God, this is so weird. Okay, so again, my name is really weird. I mean, you can see it in the bottom text here. It's Kazdan Arazan.
You anus.
Yeah, huge anus. Yeah, I got a huge anus. It's quite wide, but the hole, not the derriere. Sorry, I meant to say the whole derriere. Anyway, I'm a little illiterate. Anyways, so I do have an Instagram, and it is just simply my name, Kazdan Arazan. You can find all of our, costumes and film projects and stuff that we put out. I think
If anybody's just listening, Kazdan is one word.
Yeah.
I've personally, if I wasn't reading it, I would hear it as two words.
So I don't actually know the origin of the name, which is weird. So it's kind of weird, right? So I tried to translate it, and it claimed that it was Russian for like the man or something, the man, which is ironic because I have no ego like that about myself. I swear to God.
Right.
Fair.
It's not like I'm going into like the next cafe is like, I'm super Chad Bro Man. Let me get an ice. I'm just like, that's not me,
Yeah.
Crash Productions on YouTube. You've got your, Kazdan Arazan on, Facebook, Instagram, all those places. We'll put all the links in the episode description on here and on the episode description on projectlouder.net.
Right.
Everywhere that you find the podcast, Spotify, iTunes, we'll have that in the episode description for you guys.
Reach out to any of us if you don't know.
Yeah,
That's
feel
not
free to,
clear.
DM us, DM Kaz if you have questions about, where to find various shows or productions or anything like that you're looking forward to, or additional information regarding, like you were talking about, people who have like indie toku projects that they want to maybe incorporate into your world and Easter eggs or anything like that. I have a handful of folks in mind that I'll definitely reach out to, on your behalf with that in mind, because I know at least 3 people that right off the top of my head would totally jump at the opportunity. Do you have any, is there we talked about Fayetteville Comic-Con. Are there any conventions or places like that you're going to be at coming up that you want to promote or hype up, in the coming rest of 2023?
I had plans to go to GalaxyCon. I actually had plans to go to GalaxyCon for the last 3 years, and I've missed out on all 3 chances, unfortunately.
Did we go 2 years ago?
Oh, we did go 2 years ago. So 2 years ago.
Fair.
So I missed out on the last 2 events for GalaxyCon, unfortunately.
Okay.
But that is one that I frequent often. That's GalaxyCon Raleigh, North Carolina. I will, moving forward, start making plans for Ranger Stop Atlanta which
Cool.
obviously was just, I think, last month. I missed out on it, unfortunately.
that was recent.
But I am in communication with my buddy Howard Howell. He runs a small cosplay company called Howard's Heroes. And we are going to be going to Ranger Stop Orlando in November. So
Nice.
that is going to happen. I will be at Fayetteville Comic-Con in October as well as April. You'll find me at that event every time it happens because like I said, I'm a photographer. I run the floor. I photograph people for free to get you guys some really cool photos, just really hype you up. And if you have something you really, really want to get a photo of, find me. You'll get free photos. That's a promise.
Nice.
So sorry, I got a cat hair or something on my nose.
You're good.
But I don't really go to any other major cons at this time, but if anyone's interested in recommending me one, I'm interested in that. I would love
There's
to.
always Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City.
Yep.
Kansas City.
Yep. Planet Comic-Con, it's usually in, when is that? March?
March, yep.
Usually in March.
Are you okay? Remind me where you guys are again. You're in California.
Kansas City.
Kansas, Missouri. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I will try. That definitely wouldn't be like this year for sure. Or
Oh, yeah. No.
maybe not next year either. But long-term plan. When's the next event?
The next event would be, so they have 2 cons now. They have Planet Comic-Con, which is in March. Every year it's in March. And then they now have an anime convention that's in October, I believe, of every year.
And when
So-
do you
KC Comic-Con?
Yeah, they're different.
But
KC
are they still doing KC Comic-Con?
Yeah, there's Planet Comic-Con,
Okay.
and then there's Planet Anime
Okay.
that are both run by the same owners. And then there's Fountain City Comic-Con, which is smaller. And I have no idea when that one is.
Which one do
But-
you guys normally attend?
We go to Planet pretty much every year.
Yeah.
We've not had like a table at them because it's exceedingly expensive, but we are attending Planet Comic Con every year. And then depending on how things go, may or may not have a table at Planet Anime, but we will see.
Yeah.
But I will get you all of the information and updates and stuff on local cons.
I will not promise for 2024, but
Oh, for sure.
I will start planning for 2025, March.
Fair enough.
Awesome.
All right.
And we will do the same for Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm.
We will, if not next year, the year after,
Sounds good.
but we'll figure something out.
Just to reiterate again, I am on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Crass Productions is my YouTube. My name is the other 2 platforms, but I am looking into trying to get Hive off the ground, and I might start a TikTok, but I'm really against TikTok for various reasons.
I feel you.
And none of which I'm comfortable with disclosing here.
No, that's fine.
No.
I am looking for any kind of alternative to try to get out there more. I do have an IMDb profile. I forgot to mention that. I do need to make
was
the
good.
payment because my
Under
photo.
the name of Kaz, I assume.
Yep, same name as below. You can find some of the stuff I worked on. I did star in 2 films so far. And there's another film coming out this year called Breakwater with Dermot Mulroney. I played an extra in that as a prisoner.
Awesome. Well, it's a lot of stuff to look forward to, obviously, and on your part as somebody actually acting and all of the stuff, and on our part as people who get to kind of chime in as viewers and as fans and as
really nice every
tag-alongs.
couple of years, somebody's like, "Hey, interview this person." I get to show up, get drunk, and do it. And I won't remember it.
It's a good policy to keep going, but maybe depending on how frequently we do it,
So
that's true too.
So
But
how
yeah,
do
we will like I said, we'll keep you up to date on production on this, and we will keep all of our viewers and listeners and sniffers and smellers and hearers and all that stuff up to date on everything that you have coming up, everything that we have coming up, which is significantly less than you have coming up. And if anybody wants to hear anything coming from us or from the rest of Project Louder, it's projectlouder.net. There's a ton of podcasts and blogs and vlogs and all that jazz popping up over there. And then if you want to follow, Kazdan, it is Kazdan R. Azan over on social media, Facebook and Instagram. And then Kraz Productions over on YouTube. Links to everything will be in the episode descriptions on here and on all the podcast platforms. And we will try to feed in links and tags and everything to everybody who has been shouted out and mentioned in this throughout the episode so that everybody knows where everybody needs to go and all the shout outs can be accessed and all that jazz. We'll make sure everybody's in the loop and caught up. But thank you so much, Kaz, for coming on and chatting with us tonight. And, thank you so much for your project that you've put in all of this effort for, and that you're going to continue to put effort for. And it means a lot to the niche of a niche fandom that we are a part of that doesn't get a lot of projects like this. I know you've gotten some great feedback, and we've heard feedback on your behalf from when we've shared it around, which has been just so fun and awesome to see the passion on your end and on the fans' end. So, thank you for producing it. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we will see you guys next time in whatever facet that may be, either if it's just on our end or bringing somebody like Kaz back in for something like this. So with that, I've been Cam.
I've been a snazzy dresser and a snappy dancer.
And I've been Hugh Janus, and I would love to return again with my buddy Phil McCracken. So,
Hugh Janus will return in Avengers 4.
And we've been the
Big Bad Cazadors.
Perfection.
Love you.
The opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much.